Jorge Masvidal in a recent interview speaks on a potential fight with Georges St Pierre. Masvidal says that as a competitor, he wants to break his face. He told Submission Radio, "Well, they've said this about me, that I resurrect fighters and then I retire them. So I wouldn't mind if GSP jumped on that campaign. In all honesty, as a competitor, I want to break his face. I want to go out there and give him everything I got. But I respect the time what he's done. He took I don't know how many years off, came back, beat Bisping for the legitimate middleweight title. Dude's a stud. He's a fucking animal, bro. I would put everything into my being, into my soul to end this individual because he's that good. He's the type of fighter this shit would require a nice training camp, isolation from the world, and just focus on my task, just day in and day out, because he's a hell of a competitor, and I'm not taking a backseat to nobody in this division, so I would love it." Jorge Masvidal on Ariel Helwani's MMA show speaks on what's next for him. He says that if he doesn't fight Conor McGregor, he wants to fight Kamaru Usman.
Yes, I would want that fight because it's a big money fight. It's a dude that's a two-time division champion. He has some impressive records, and he comes to fight, man. So in that aspect, yes, and we're going to both sell out wherever we find that, and it's going to be violence. But if the dude doesn't want to fight, I'm not a bully, man. Go do your thing, you know? He doesn't want this. I don't give a fuck then. You don't want to fight, you don't want to fight, but don't flirt with me and shit. You want it or you don't. Leave me the fuck alone if you don't. I'm going to go take care of Usman. And he was talking about he wanted the title fight with Usman. No. At 70, I'm the way. I am the thing. I decide when Usman will fight, who he'll fight, all that. Everybody knows that. He might have the belt, but I'm the one calling the fucking shots. The Conor fight, we'll go get the money because the Conor fight's not always going to be there. The who is always going to be there, man. You know what I'm saying? So the owl, whatever they're calling these days now, that fight's always going to be there. Somebody's always going to have that belt, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not a big deal as far as those two go, the one that would make the most money. But I also have something to get, and that's to show everybody in my division, all my peers, not the fans, so the fans wouldn't know anyways, a lot of them, you know, to my actual peers, to the fighters in my weight class, that I am the best through and through, and I'm going to show it. And it's going to take some time, but I'm going to show it year after year. I'm just going to show it, man.
Israel Adesanya on Ariel Helwani's MMA show speaks on fighting at 205. He says that he also wants to fight Paulo Costa in 2020.
That's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. I don't have to. Everyone thinks that, oh, how's he going to get to 205? He's going to have to jack up and put muscle on. I fought at heavyweight when I was weighing at like 87 kgs, 88 kgs. And all these guys were weighing 100 plus. It's in kickboxing. I fought Brian Minto, a boxing world champion, former world champion. I fought him at heavyweight when I was weighing like 92 kgs. So this is nothing new to me. For me, this is just another day in the office. It's another code I have to do with that. I did it in boxing, I did it in kickboxing, I have to do it in MMA now. And look, if Dom takes out John, that makes no difference. What I said is going to happen is still going to happen in 2021. 205, I might do it. Edison did that against, he did that against James Irvin.
Yes.
Yeah, he did that. You know, just a little tease, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the landscape of the year shows us. So yeah, so out of the question. But I'm focused on my division. Yes, I want that fight to happen, but I wouldn't say it's a disappointment. But I want that fight to happen. I need that fight to happen. I want that fight to happen because I want it. I don't need anyone. Yeah, it's just he did what he did. He hurt himself allegedly, and. Yeah, now he can't fight for, I don't know, maybe 7 more months. I'm not sitting around waiting for this wannabe to get better and then come see me. So, yeah, I picked on the next guy no one wants to call out, and that's Yoel Romero. And we've got a lot of killers in this division. Like I said, the dark horse of the division is Jared. So, yeah, I just have to do one fight at a time.
Yep.
This is how you get there. You take it one moment at a time, one fight at a time. Like, it's cool to look at the future and as I do. I get my dad so raven on. I look in the future and I see what's ahead in the horizon. But I always stay focused. You know, I always stay focused in the moment. But yeah, it'll be nice.
Johnny Walker posts some new training footage to his Instagram. Kevin Lee on UFC Unfiltered speaks on training with Firas Zahabi. He also speaks on why he wants to fight Islam Makhachev.
You know, I knew that they were cerebral. You know what I mean? Like, I had met Firas a couple times before, so they kind of like, it's hard to explain. Like, I'm pretty sure, Matt, you even know going over the Henzos and all that, like, they're real cerebral and real, pay such close attention to the details of the game that for me, sometimes I'm too close to really see it. You know what I mean? So for him, he just simplified it all for me and just took a lot of thought process out of it for me. It just made it more simple and easy. Honestly, it made it easier for me to go out and do my job. In my fight with RDA, where I got overly tired, I don't think it was because I didn't work hard enough. Because honestly, for that camp, I worked way harder than I did for this camp for Gregor Gillespie. I mean, like the hours that I put in the gym, the intensity that I went. But I think when I was in there, I was thinking too much and I didn't have no voice to kind of guide me, to where that was using up so much mental energy that it made me just exhausted. And for this one, like, honestly, for that last fight, I could have went 5 rounds. And I'm hoping that my next fight is 5 rounds. I feel like they're going to put me on pay-per-view. It's going to be another 3-rounder, which we can go ahead and get that out. But for my next 5-round fight with Firas in my corner, I feel like it's going to look totally different. You know, nobody wants to fight Islam. You know, that's been the talks all around. You know, we got a small community. You know what I mean? Like, everybody kind of know everybody. And everybody keeps saying that Islam is the next guy up. He's the next Khabib. He's the next generation of Khabib. So I said I want him. Like, that's the only man that you ever heard come out of my mouth. I'm 18-4. He's 18-1. Like, it makes sense. You know, I called for it a couple days ago after I did that little Bernie Sanders thing, the little rally. I did an interview and I made mention of it again. And then he got on Twitter, I think, last night. My agent said to me this morning and let him know, like, hey, he wants to fight too. So I don't know what the holdup is. I think it's on the UFC's end. I don't really know. You know, from what I heard, they said that he's not ready. But again, his record is better than mine. So, you know, and he's calling for the fight. So I don't see how he's not ready.
A 3-round middleweight bout between Uriah Hall and Jacare Souza has been added to UFC 249. Uriah Hall is coming off a split decision win over Antonio Carlos Jr. Jacare Souza is coming off a split decision loss over Jan Blachowicz at UFC Fight Night 164. Michael Bisping on the Believe You Me Podcast speaks on Tyron Woodley versus Leon Edwards. He says it's a tough fight for both men.
Funny you bring up Leon Edwards there, because he's just had a booking as well. He's fighting Tyron Woodley at the main event in UFC London in March. So that's a big fight happening on UK soil. And it's a really interesting one because, you know, Leon Edwards wants a title fight. I forget what kind of win streak he's on, but he's on a big win streak and he's beating some fantastic people. The last person to beat him, incidentally, was Kamaru Usman in a pretty relatively close fight, if I recall. So he's fighting Tyron Woodley. Tyron wasn't too keen on taking this fight. Woodley's out there on a talking offensive right now. He is talking a lot of shit, saying that, you know, people don't deserve to fight him and all this type of thing. But unfortunate for Tyron, he got beat, lost his belt almost a year ago now. You got to get back in there. You got to fight. He's fighting Leon Edwards. He said he didn't want to fly over to England. He said, no, I'm not fighting outside of the USA. If people want to fight me, they can fly here, which I understand. Before we press play, I understand this thing, you know, people, you know, you want to fight in the States, you know, it's the home of the UFC. But what you got to remember is at least 50% of the roster fly from other countries. You know what I mean? And when you're not the champion, you can't always have your cake and eat it. And unfortunately, when you become a challenger again, this is what you've got to do. I understand Woodley, you know, he's on the outside right now. He had the belt not too long ago and it hurts. It stings. But unfortunately, I don't really agree with him on that one. Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
When he lost the belt, that was the last time that he fought, you know, and then he was offered some fights, but he said he had a little bit of an injury in his hand and things like that, you know. Listen, the reality is, and you know, he does seem very motivated to get his belt back and be champion again, and I respect that. But, you know, he is pulled in other directions as well. He's focusing on his rapping and things like that and creating music, you know, and you have got to be all in to a certain degree. And Leon Edwards, he's certainly all in. He wants to be the champ. I mean, he's on a 8-fight win streak in the UFC, beating Dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson, Cerrone, Peter Sabata, Barberena, Vicente Luque, Albert Tumanov, and Dominic Waters in those 8 fights. Dos Anjos being the most recent. I mean, he's beating good competition there. Stylistically for Tyron Woodley, you know, he's fighting a striker, but Leon Edwards is tall, man. I was sat with him and Adesanya at the last fight, and I mean, I've met Leon Edwards, but I couldn't believe how tall he is. Yeah, 6'2", 6'2", and he was thick. He's not like a skinny 6'2" at welterweight. So he's a big dude. He's got reach. I don't know if he's got a longer reach than Tyron, but it looked like he'd have a longer reach. He moves well. He's got great striking. Could be a tough fight. I think it's a tough fight for both men. Both men have a really, really hard fight, and that's why I think this becomes a great fight.
That's going to wrap it up for the news. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to Full Mount MMA on YouTube. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Rampage versus Fedor. First one's from Mr. Murder, and it says, Rampage looks like he should have hung the gloves up about 5 years ago. The second one says, Rampage should have just stayed retired. Guess he needed that paycheck. The final one says, I heard Karen Bryan is motorboating Rampage now. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next video, be sure to drop a comment down below on this one.